The topic we are going to discuss is on distribution systems. Under the study of our water supply subject, we have many a times used the word distribution system. So this is a complete system that is laid out in areas in order to distribute the water which is carried out from the source to the treatment plant after giving sufficient treatment stored in the overhead tanks. From that reservoirs, it has to be supplied to the public use from where it is distributed completely systematically through the proper distribution system. So, the function of carrying water to the individual homes from the treatment plant is accomplished through a well planned distribution system. This is why a good distribution system is needed in order to be achieved a good supply to the public. A distribution system may therefore consist of pipelines, hydrants, meters, service connections, pumps, distribution or service reservoirs. So these are all the things that will be connected in between the pipelines for effective supply of the water. So generally the pipes that are coming to our houses from the supply lines, we can say they are the supply lines. So we can see whenever the main line is going like this, so this is generally running, it is a main line, and then from here we can take out the sub main. So this is a main, this is a sub main. From here, if houses are located like this, from here to here to each of the house from the sub main connections are given. This we call it as a laterals. So this complete connection is needed in order to make it a good supply system. But in between, not only the pipelines are given, in between wherever necessary valves will be given, hydrants will be given, and meters are connected to each of the houses, and these are connections that are provided in between. Wherever sufficient pressure is not available, pumps will be provided. When gravity flow is not possible, these are the things associated with respect to the distribution system. Let us study in detail what are the types of the distribution system and what are the requirements of a good distribution system. Next, let us understand the requirements of a good distribution system. So any distribution system, we say it properly functioning. So these are the points we have to keep it in mind. First point, it should be capable of supplying water at all intended places with sufficient pressure head. So this one we have told for each of the house it should reach. So pressure should not be such that it drops out in the middle. To each of the houses wherever we have provided this connection, it should be capable of reaching. Generally, it is provided under the gravity. If gravity is not available, it should be pressurized in such a way that it reaches every house. Second point, it should be capable of supplying required amount of water for firefighting. So as we told about in the fire hydrants, generally the fire hydrants will be connected to the water supply main lines. Here the fire hydrants will be connected. So in case of the fire hazards, the water main line should be capable of supplying sufficient amount of the water for taking care of the fire accidents. Next point we are considering is it should be cheap with least capital construction cost. So economy is another factor, but generally distribution system and all we will be considering at least to be laid out for minimum of 20 to 30 years, considering as it has a design period. Hence, in order to take care of that, material usage should be good. Apart from that, it should be cheap during the construction also. Next point, it should be simple and easy to operate and repair. So the pipe material what we are choosing, how we are laying, and the entire system what we are laying, it should not be a complex structure so that it forms a difficulty during the repairs. It should be of easy in structure and simple and easy to operate and also to repair. Next point we are considering is it should be safe against any future pollution of water. As we know, along with the water supply, collection of the sewage is another important component under the water supply and sanitation system. In a future, it should not take any pollution that is coming into its way. So that is why the complete layout of the distribution system should be laid properly. There is no confusion in between that causes the pollution. Next, sixth point we are considering is it should be safe as not to cause the failure of pipelines by bursting. So this particularly happens whenever there is a sudden increase in the pressure. So in such a cases, there may be a burst of the pipes. In order to take care of these things, generally the valves are provided, and the design should be made in such a way that pressure increase will not happen in the entire distribution system. Lastly, and the last requirement, it should be fairly watertight, so has to keep losses due to the leakage to a minimum. As we know, under the demands, we also considered the losses due to the leakage and the theft of the water. So in order to minimize that, it should be fairly watertight. The entire distribution system should be made watertight, so as to avoid the leakage of the water and also to consider the minimum of the loss. Next, let us check arrangement of distribution pipes. The distribution pipe system consists of supply mains, sub-mains, branches and laterals, usually made up of the cast iron. Since it can have a good design period around 100 years, cast iron pipes are mostly used. The distribution pipes are generally laid on one side of the roads and the streets, usually below the footpaths and at about 2 meter above and 3 meter away from the sewers. So in case of the roadways, generally if this is the roadway, on the footpaths the pipelines will be laid. They will be around 2 meter above the ground and 3 meter if sewage pipelines are on another side. At least a 3 meter of distance should be there in order to avoid entry of the sewage into the water supply lines and also to avoid any future contamination of the water. And next point we are considering is, generally sewer lines run on one side of the streets and the water pipes run on the other side of the street. The smallest laterals should normally be not less than 8 to 10 centimeter diameter. If it has to supply water to a fire hydrant, it should be at least 15 to 20 centimeter in diameter. This is the smallest size of the pipes we are going to consider. Since both sewer lines and also the water supply lines are running side by side, we have to take care of the contamination properly by making a watertight joints. Next, let us check out the layout of distribution network. We told there will be a mains, sub-mains, branches and laterals. In what pattern these will be laid? This we call it as layout of a distribution network. The distribution pipes are generally laid below the road pavements and their layouts will generally follow the layouts of the roads. So there are four different types of the pipe networks we consider. So first one is a dead end system, second one is the gridiron system, third one is the ring system, fourth one is the radial system. Now let us check how this will be laid and what are its advantages and disadvantages, and let us check its diagrams also. First one we are considering is the dead end system. So dead end system, as the name itself is suggesting, each of the line that is coming out will end up at some point. That is why we call it as dead end system. Usually for every road we say some dead end will be there. So at that point the pipe section will end. There is no interconnection between the pipelines. That is why this is called as dead end system. This system is also called as tree system. It looks like a branches of the trees. That is why this is called as a tree system also. There is one main pipe from which originates a number of submain pipes. Each submain then divides again into several branch pipes called laterals. From the laterals, service connections are given to the consumers. So this is like one-on-one connection from main to submain, submain to the laterals, and then from the laterals to the service connections that consumers use. The type of the layout may have to be adopted for older towns which have developed in a haphazard manner without properly planned roads. In India, most of the layouts we have is a dead end pattern. Why? Because some areas are unplanned. Already the areas are developed, then the water supply lines are been laid. That is why they cannot make out any different kinds of the layouts. That is why they are going for dead end system. So when city is going developing in a haphazard pattern, so this method is suitable. The water mains have to be taken along the main roads and the branches taken off wherever needed. thus resulting in the formation of number of dead ends. This is why this is called as a dead end system. First, let us check its figure, and next let us understand its advantages and disadvantages. Here in this figure we can see the center long line. What we are seeing, it is the main pipeline that is indicated by the letter M. From here, from the main line, we are originating number of the sub-main lines. Here you can see it is indicated by the S. This is also a sub-main. However, the roads are going in that pattern, sub-mains are taken. See, from the sub-mains, we are taking off the laterals. From the laterals, we can provide the service connections to the consumers. See, here also there is a sub-main. From the sub-main, we have taken the lateral. Here also one house may be located, they will take the service connection. Here also house is located, they will take the service connection. Once it enters in this path, it is closed up here. That is why we call it as a dead-end system. When we look into the whole of the system, it looks like a tree. Branches from each of the main. That is why this is called as a tree system also. Now let us check its advantages and disadvantages. When we talk about its advantages, the distribution network can be solved easily, and it is possible to easily and accurately calculate the discharge and pressure at each of the point. Since system is not closed system, each of the pipe is ending at certain point, calculation of the pressure and the discharge becomes easy. Under the second point, that is, lesser number of cutoff valves are required in this system. See, if entire system is a closed system, so at this point, and at all the corners we have to provide a cutoff valves. But in this case, there is no such problem because the connections are to the end of the road. So one valve is enough in order to take care of that sub-main. Next, shorter pipelines are needed and the laying of the pipes is easier. However, the roads are going, the pipelines will be carried out in the same pattern. Because of that, shorter pipelines and also laying is quite easy. This method proves it is cheap and simple and can be extended or expanded easily. See, however, the city is going in a episode manner. In the same episode manner, we are also trying to lay out the submains. That is why. So this is quite easy whenever it comes to a point of expansion of the distribution network. When we discuss its disadvantages, first point, in this method, water can reach a particular point only through one route. Any damage or a repair will completely stop the water supply. See, as we told, like this we are considering the main, this is a sub-main. This is the only way to the houses here has to get the supply. If some repair is coming at this point, entire sub-main will not get any of the supply. This is a disadvantage with this point. Next point we are considering, there are numerous dead ends in this system which prevents the free circulation of the water. Always when flowing water is suddenly stopped, there is a negative pressure that is created in the water. So that is always not expected in the water. Free circulation of the water is always provided in order to make it pressure free. Third point, during firefighting, cannot be increased by diverting any other supplies from any other side. Say for example, if this is a point which is of the connection to the submain, at this point we are taking out the fire hydrant. See, from here to here we don't have any connection, just the main is running. Because of this, when I require more of the water for firefighting, I can't divert any of the water from other point to here. So only water available at this point can be used for firefighting. That is the disadvantage with this kind of the method. But this is a method which is most used in India. Next, let us check the next method, that is a gridiron method. This system is also known as interlaced system or reticulation system. Here also the mains, submains and the branches are provided and all are interconnected with each other. That is the main point here. In the previous type of the layout, no points were connected, but in this case all mains, submains and branches are interconnected. In a gridiron pattern, and the pipelines in such places can follow them easily. Hence, this system is more suitable for well-planned towns and cities and has been used in Chandigarh. Chandigarh is the place where this method of the supply is being used. Let us check its diagram and then we can go for its advantages and disadvantages. This entire system we can see, this one we call it as a grid iron system. M is indicating the main line, and here we can see these lines. These lines are nothing but the submains. So these are the submains. From here they have taken out, we can see L is indicating the laterals. All the laterals are interconnected. So since all the laterals are interconnected, here we can see it is indicated by the dots. At all the points, valves are provided in order to control. See, all laterals, submains, mains are interconnected. That is the point with this. So completely interconnected shape, that is why this is called as a grid iron system. This can be followed whenever the city is well established or a planned city. So this is following some particular pattern. City also should be in such pattern, then only we can adopt this method. Let us check its advantages and disadvantages. First point, the water reaches at different places through more than one route. The discharge, losses and size of the pipe gets reduced. All the points are connected, because of that there is no one route, but from all the routes we can supply the water to some particular point. In case of repairs, very small area will be divided off complete supply. Since valves are provided at all the points, some particular point you can close and repair it and quickly supply the water. And also the supply is not distorted, since from more than one route the connections have been provided. If one route is been under repair, from the another route we can supply the water. Next point, because of the different interconnections, the dead ends are completely eliminated. So dead ends are always not needed in case of the distribution system. So this can be completely avoided by making the interconnections. During fire, more water can be diverted towards the affected points, since from one point we need to draw the water in case of dead end system, but here since all the points are connected, when there is a sudden fire accident we can withdraw the water from all the points and we can use more of the water for exhausting the fire. Next, let us check its disadvantages. This system requires more length of pipelines and large number of sluice valves. As we saw in the figure, at every point sluice valves are provided in order to stop and also release the water. And length of the pipelines required is more, because all the points are connected with the supply pipelines. Under the second point, its construction is costlier. Yes, obviously, because all the points are connected, construction costs leads to be more. Last point, the design is difficult and costlier, because in this case, as the city is planned in the same pattern, we have to plan the entire system. That is why this system proves to be costly. The third system we are considering is ring system. Under this, let us check what are its points. This system is also called as circular system, as we told ring system or circular system. Two of the names are used to indicate this. In this system, a closed ring, either circular or rectangular, of the main pipes is formed around the area to be served. That is why this is called as a circular system. The distribution area is divided into rectangular or circular blocks, and the main water pipes are laid on the periphery of these blocks. The ring system is very suitable for towns and cities having well-planned roads. Sometimes this system is used as a looped feeder placed centrally around a high demand area along with the gridiron system. And advantages and disadvantages are as similar to the gridiron system only. Let us check its figure. See this entire outside line, what we are seeing, this is a rectangular pattern of the ring system. See the entire outside line, what we are seeing is a main line. So entire grid or as a ring of a main line is formed, from where we have connected the S is indicating the sub main lines. From the sub main lines, wherever it is needed, the laterals are also provided. At all the points we can see most of the points we have indicated by the gate walls or the cutoff walls. It is indicated by the dots provided at these points. That is why, since it is a completely closed by the main line outside, this system is called as ring system or circular system. Next system we are considering is radial system. If a city or a town is having a system of radial roads emerging from different centers, the pipelines can be best laid in a radial method by placing the distribution reservoirs at these centers. So in this system, water is therefore taken from the water mains and pumped into the distribution reservoirs placed at different centers. The water is then supplied through the radially laid distribution pipes, and this method ensures high pressure and efficient water distribution, and calculations for design of sizes are also quite simple. Let us check its diagram and we can understand how it is being laid. So here we can see. So in this case 1, 2, 3, 4 are the numbers indicating the distribution reservoirs. At this point, distribution reservoirs are provided. See, this is a main pipeline. From the main pipeline, submains are went like this. So when the submains, the storage reservoir is provided at this point. From this point again, the water is supplied in a radial pattern all around the area. So if area is present like this in a radial pattern, then it will be easy for supplying by the radial system method. So this is in which this is a system which can be adopted when area itself is radially distributed, and this also having quite similar advantages and disadvantages when we compare with the grid iron system. This is also a closed system. After having a discussion about the distribution system and different layouts that is used in distribution system, now let us check what are the methods of distribution that will be used for the supply. First one is by gravitational system. Second one is by pumping system. Third one is combined gravity and pumping system. First is a method the name itself is suggesting, that is a gravitational force is the main thing that will be used under this system. In this system, water from high level source is distributed to the consumers at a low level by the action of the gravity only without any pumping. So second type, in this system, the treated water is directly pumped into the distribution mains without storing it anywhere. So in this case, storage reservoirs can be avoided. Third is the case, in this system, the treated water is pumped and stored into the elevated reservoirs from where it is distributed under the gravity. It uses both pumping as well as the gravity. Here in this figure, we can see the gravitational distribution system. It consists of a surface distribution reservoir containing treated water, and then here we can see during this is the way the ground level is, and HL is indicating the head loss and H is indicating the head available to the consumers. This is a static head or a minimum water level. So this is a minimum. During the minimum demand, it will be meeting out like this, and during the maximum demand, it is coming out like this. This is the head that is available. In order to achieve this, the gravitational flow should be available, and for proper functioning of this system, the difference of head available between the source and the localities must be sufficient enough as to maintain adequate pressure at the consumer's doorsteps, but after allowing the frictional and other losses in the pipes. And this method is most economical and reliable since no pumping is involved at any stage, and hence it needs a lake or a reservoir as a source of supply. In Mumbai, the water which is brought from the high lakes situated in the hills is distributed to the consumers by this method. Next method, in this figure we can see, this is the next method wherein pumping is used. So in the pumping system, we can see and understand the figure. Raw water from a low level source is brought out here, and this is a pump house, and from the this is a treatment plant, and this is lift developed by the pump. So it is brought up to this level and then it is supplied. This is a good head of the water is available in this case. So, and also some of the points associated this is, high lift pumps are required in this system and which have to operate at a variable speed so as to meet variable demands of the water. Thus, a continuous attendance is needed at the pumping station so as to ensure the desired flow in the distribution system. Moreover, if the power supply fails, there will be a complete stoppage of the water supply. If by chance a fire breaks out at such a time, it will bring a disaster. And this method is therefore generally not used. However, the only advantage with this method is that during fires it can force large volumes of the water under pressure in the required direction so that motor pumpers may be eliminated. That's the only advantage with this method. Last method we are checking out is combined gravity and the pumping system. In this case we can see this is the pump house. After bringing the water is pumped and stored in the elevated distribution reservoir. This is the maximum level, and then it is supplied under the gravity to the public. So in this system, the treated water is first pumped at the constant rate and stored into the distribution reservoir from where it is distributed to the consumers. Sometimes the entire water is first of all pumped into the reservoir, and many a times it is pumped into the distribution mines and the reservoirs. This method thus combines pumping as well as gravity flow. That is why this is called as pumping with storage system. The excess water during low demand periods gets stored in the reservoir and gets supplied during the high demand periods. It can achieve both the advantages that comes with the last two methods. The pumps are worked at a constant rate which is adjusted in such a way that the excess quantity of the water stored in the reservoir during the low consumption nearly equals the extra demand during the high consumption. So this system helps in operating the pumps at a constant speed at their rated capacities, thus increasing their efficiency and reducing the wear and tear. This is the advantage with this kind of the system. Next, let us understand different systems of supply. Water may be supplied continuously for all 24 hours of the day, or it may be supplied intermittently only for a peak period during morning and evening, during certain particular hours of a day. So this is the pattern or how the system of supply is being laid. Few of the cities have a continuous flow of the water and few have a intermittent type of the supply. The intermittent system should not be continued as long as term policy, and it can be replaced by continuous system at the earliest. This whole of the system selection depends on how much of water is available for the supply. If good quantity of the water is available, then we can definitely go for continuous type of the supply. But wastage of the water is most in case of the continuous supply when we compare with the intermittent supply. Let us check limitations or disadvantages of the intermittent supply of the system. Intermittent system do not cover fire risks during non-supply period because during only certain hours of the day water will be available. On other rest of the hours there is no water that is available in the water mains for firefighting. Next point, it causes great inconvenience to the consumers for receiving and collecting the water because water is coming to at certain time of the day and people should be ready in order to receive and collect the water, but this timing should be properly maintained so that during the peak hours if it is supplied it is very difficult for the public to collect the water. And in this system water has to be pumped during 6 to 8 hours only, hence necessitates the use of bigger sized mains, as during some particular time period only sufficient water has to be supplied. So because of that, the pipelines what we are laying should be of a greater area, required area. When the supply is suddenly stopped, the water is drawn off, a partial vacuum may be created. This usually happens in case of the pumping also. When pumps are suddenly stopped, there is a reverse flow or a vacuum that is created that creates a backflow of the water. This can be avoided by providing certain valves. Other kinds of the disadvantages are a number of air valves or sluice valves are required to be fitted in the distribution system because entire area is not open at a time, because for certain particular area we have to release the valve and supply the water at some particular time of the day. Because of that it necessitates the use of more of the valves. Air valves are also provided since vacuum is created during sudden off of the water. Last point, in spite of these limitations, the intermittent supply system is largely employed in India. The system may or may not help in saving the water, but may help in supplying the water to high level areas with adequate pressures. This is the intermittent pattern of the supply is most used in India because of even the scarcity of the water also. Next, let us check what are the different types of the service reservoirs or distribution reservoirs that will be used in order to store the water. Storage reservoirs which store the treated water for supplying the water during the emergencies also helps in absorbing the hourly fluctuations in the normal water demand. This is why the storage reservoirs are provided. These are also called as distribution reservoirs. Next, let us check what are the functions of the distribution reservoirs. They absorb the hourly variations in the demand and allow the treatment units and the pumps to operate at a constant rate, because pumps will be operating at a constant rate and they will be operated to certain time of the day, and water is stored in the reservoir. Even during the high demands, water is supplied, or whatever it is stored in the distribution reservoir only be supplied into the public. They help in maintaining constant pressure in the distribution system. So water will not be released suddenly as in case of the pumping. Since it is stored and supplied, there is a constant pressure in the water, but it can vary whenever we go for pumping. Next point, pumping of water in shifts is made possible by them without affecting the supply. Since water is stored, it is made possible for supplying the water certain particular time without affecting the supply. So this is intermittent type of the supply. This is best suited after storing it in a distribution reservoir. Fourth point, water store can be supplied during emergencies such as breakdown of pumps and fires. Even pumps are not working, we can manage few days with the stored water in the reservoir. And last point, they lead to an overall economy by reducing the sizes of the pumps and the pipelines. Since constant head is available, it can supply the water even both the systems of the supply. So because of that, the size of the pumps and pipelines is not required. If only pumping is maintained, pumps of high capacity should be purchased in order to meet the requirement of the public. So these are the functions of the distribution reservoir. Next, let us check what are the different types of the distribution reservoirs. They may be of steel, RCC or masonry, but RCC made the distribution reservoirs are most common, that we can see it surrounding to us. Depending on their elevation with respect to the ground, they may be of two types: surface reservoirs and elevated reservoirs. So name itself is suggesting us surface reservoirs will be at a surface level, ground level. Elevated are one which will be elevated from the ground. First, let us understand the surface reservoirs. These are generally circular or rectangular tanks constructed at the ground level or below the ground level. They are hence called as ground reservoirs. So they are generally constructed at high points in the city. Since they are laid at a ground level, in order to get the sufficient head and the gradient required, we have to locate it at a high points of the city, just like in a hilly regions. And next is, in city can be divided into several zones, and a separate reservoir is provided in each zone for distribution of water if more than one point is available. These are the considerations with respect to the surface reservoirs. Let us check some more points with respect to surface reservoirs. In gravitational type of system, water is stored in the ground reservoir and then it is distributed, helpful in case of the gravitational system. And in case of the combined gravity and pumping system of distribution, the treated water is first of all stored in the ground reservoir and then it is pumped into the elevated reservoir from where it is distributed. In that case also, providing this is useful. And lastly, it is divided into two compartments so that one may be cleaned and repaired while other is in use. Since it has two compartments, any one can be at a operation. And these two compartments are connected with each other by shut-off valves or sluice valves, and overflow pipes are provided at fully supply level so as to maintain a constant water level. So even though excess of the water is coming, overflow pipes will be provided. Ventilators are provided in a roof slab, so has to affect a free circulation of the air. Circulation of the air always makes water to remain fresh. For removal of sludge and for cleaning of the reservoir, washout pipes are also provided, and the cement concrete floor is sloped towards the central washout pipes. Once we see the diagram for this, we can understand how it is working. This is the diagram which we are using for the ground reservoir understanding. This is a typical section of a ground reservoir. As we told, this is a one chamber and this is a another chamber which will be provided. See, here we can see this is the first one, overflow pipe. When water level exceeds a certain level, maximum level, water will come out of the overflow pipe. Even a wire gauge cover is also provided at the end of the pipes. It is taken to the drain, taken off to the drain gutter. And on the surface we can see ventilators are provided in order to provide a proper circulation of water. Here we can see a cutoff valve or a gate valve is provided which is connected to the bottom. So, and these are the round shaped what we are seeing. These are the outlet pipes to distribution mains. So, from these pipes, it will be taken off to the distribution pipes or main lines. Slope is provided towards the center in order to take out the washout pipes. Here we can see the washout pipes. Sometimes we know in water, some particles such as grit and sand particles may be present. As the time passes, they may be settled to the bottom. In order to take out that sludge particle, this will be washout pipes will be provided. Since sloping is provided, it automatically comes to the center and towards the washout pipes from where it is taken out. And entire structure can be made out either of a brickwork or RCC in a deep reservoirs. This is for it. And these are the inlet pipes we have provided from where the water is getting entered. This is about the typical section of a ground reservoir. Lastly, let us check the elevated reservoirs. Elevated reservoirs they are also of rectangular or circular or elliptical overhead tanks erected at a certain suitable elevation above the ground level and supported on the towers. These are also located on elevated points only, but here towers are also provided in order to increase the level. And they are constructed where the pressure requirements necessitates considerable elevation, and they are constructed in areas where combined gravity and pumping system of water distributions are adopted. In order to necessitate and also to help this, sometimes the surface level reservoir may also be attached with this. Water is pumped into these elevated tanks from the filter units and from the surface reservoirs, and then it is supplied to the consumers. As I told, surface reservoirs can also be linked with this. The water stored in surface reservoirs can be pumped into elevated reservoirs from where gravitational flow is possible. So, for example, this is a surface level reservoir. This is the ground level we are considering. Elevated reservoirs are provided like this. From here to here, surface reservoir to elevated reservoir, water is pumped. Since it is located at a higher elevation, from here gravitational flow is easily possible. This is how we can combine both of the methods. Water is pumped into these elevated tanks from the filter units or maybe from the surface reservoirs. Not in all the cases surface reservoirs are used. Sometimes it may be coming from treatment plants also. Let us check some more points associated with this. These tanks may be made up of RCC, steel or a pre-stressed concrete. Most of the cases RCC is used. These elevated reservoirs are generally very costly and hence are not designed for capacities of more than 6 to 8 hours of the average daily supply. But these are most common inside the city wherever high elevation is not available. We generally go for constructing these kind of the reservoirs. They are generally covered at the top by roof slab in order to avoid contamination of the water due to dirt, birds and insects, etc. And roof should, however, be provided with ventilators so as to allow free circulation of the air. And other accessories that will be provided in this case is inlet pipe for entry of water and outlet pipe connected to distribution mains. And other things provided are the overflow pipe discharging into the drain gutters, The float gauge are an indicator of the water depth, wash pipe for removing water, automatic devices to stop pumping when the tank is full, ladders to reach the top of the reservoir, and a manhole for the inspection purpose, ventilation for the fresh air system. These are some of the extra things that will be provided to this kind of the reservoirs. Typical figure shows as rectangular elevated reservoir or a tank. So here we can see the extra pillars and the beams are provided in order to elevate this kind of the reservoir. This is a complete tank we can see, and here in this figure we can see this is the outlet pipe from where we can take out. This is a washout pipe. Sometimes when there is a washing, it can be diverted here, and some steps are also provided in order to get inside and also to rise up from the tank during the washing and all. And this is a reservoir wall. It may be made up of the concrete. In the particular figure we have shown it of the concrete, and there is a level indicator that is attached at the side, and this is the overflow pipe. Whenever certain level is increased, the overflow is coming. This is the inlet pipe from where the water is getting entered, and ventilators are also provided, and a manhole is provided for the inspection. A ladder is provided in order to go up to the top of the reservoir for the purpose of inspection. This is about the elevated reservoir. In the figure we have shown the rectangular shaped reservoir.